Nairobi is the start of this leg of Doswinkel's exploration of Kenya and her peoples. He's planning a trip into Kenya's northern deserts, a drought-stricken land where the Gabra struggle to preserve their traditions. And workplace to the Likis, a family whose passion for fossils has given us the best picture we have of our own origins.
Kenya's far north is well off the regular tourist track. Even most Kenyans never get up there. It's too dangerous to drive. For one thing, the roads are virtually non-existent and bandit attacks still common. There is only one thing we can do: fly. Now we're leaving Nairobi behind and all its technical support. From now on, navigation will be more a question of dead reckoning and hard-won experience.
The northern half of Kenya is a vast, sparsely populated desert. The dry shrub and rocky wasteland is home to some of Kenya's most fascinating and least known people, like the Turkana, the Gabra, and the Dasanach. After 3 hours of flying, the 206 is edging its way over the desolate Chalbi Desert, an endless stretch of ochre patched with salt. George is heading for its northern rim, a small island of life fed by a natural underground spring. Called Kalacha Dida, it means place of open space. The stop is a chance to refuel and get to know briefly the settled Gabra community living here. Most people in the community still use the traditional collapsible hut, designed to be packed on the back of a camel. Uniquely the work of women, a house like this can be assembled from scratch in less than half an hour. The Gabra's fine features tell of their origins several hundred kilometers to the north, in the Horn of Africa, from where they migrated south some 2 to 3 centuries ago. The Gabra are traditionally camel herders, but the recent years of drought have stripped this group of nomads of their animals and forced them to settle. A trauma like this often leads to the collapse of traditional culture, but that's far from the case here. After going through some hard times, the community is finding new direction, in part through the efforts of a remarkable woman known as Chulani. Under her guidance, a group of 50 women have come together to tackle the new challenges of a settled life. By attracting modest funds from foreign donors, the group has managed to provide help to the most vulnerable in the community, such as widows, the disabled, and the elderly. But the group's crowning achievement has been the building of this multi-purpose community center. Its prime function being to generate income by providing accommodation to passing visitors. This income is then cycled into a number of educational activities, including paying school fees for children who can't afford to go to school, and providing lessons each day to the women of Kalacha, teaching them to read and write.
Chulani, why did you start all of this?
Nauliza, kwa nini ulianza hiyo project hapo? sababu sisi nataka kupunguza maskini.
She says that they wanted to try and rise out of the poverty they were into. A lot of the camels had been lost through the drought. They had to somehow find a way out of this situation.
Okay, and you know, Chulani, I'm very curious about the circumcision. Are you against it? Do you encourage it or not?
Ndio hiyo bambo, sisi naenda kueleza watu ya group, nakaa chini, nafanya mkutano, naenda kueleza community kwa njia mzuri.
They've got an ongoing sort of educational project which not only tries to convince people that they should stop the practice, but also awareness on diseases and so forth, such as HIV.
Watu wawache kutahiri.
Okay, that's very good. Huh?
The health situation is a big concern. It's not only AIDS. Every day, 3,000 children die in Africa because of malaria. Chloroquine is the cheapest and most common Western drug used. But it's now ineffective because of resistance. I want to find out how a small community in a remote area like this copes. Malim Hussein is the traditional medicine man in town. I want to meet him and see what he can tell me.
Dos. Mimi Malim Hussein.
Malim Hussein. So, you're the medicine man here. So, what kind of patients do you treat? What kind of diseases do they have?
Malaria has got medicine here.
You can treat it?
Yes.
You can treat it? Yes. Really?
Malaria.
When this medicine dry up, it's put into a small container and crush it all until it dry in powder form. And this one is bitter.
How well does this work? I mean, is there any competition with the Western, modern malaria treatment?
Kami terdesat. But what like?
No, can you
I say those people are nomads. They prefer this medicine.
Asante sana.
With around 80% of people in Africa relying on traditional medicine for their basic healthcare, the World Health Organization is now researching traditional treatments for a whole range of major diseases, including HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria. The idea is to evaluate the effectiveness and safety of various cures and then make the best of these more widely available. With traditional cultures under threat, it's also vital that this ancient knowledge is preserved for the future. Before leaving Kalacha, the team is urged to take a trip out into the rough lava plains to the east. It's only 20 kilometers or so, but on this rock-strewn corrugated road, the ride takes nearly 2 hours.
It's been a bone-jarring ride through this rough lava desert, but we've been told that on the base of this hill there are some very special rock paintings. And now, of course, we're very curious to find out if it was worth this trip. These very graceful paintings are actually no paintings, these are engravings. And these are obviously giraffe. It looks more like a kind of a study that they did on this animal. As far as we know, nobody knows how old these engravings are, but one thing is for sure, that giraffe don't live here since a very long time.
This is tantalizing evidence that thousands of years ago, before this region was devastated by volcanic activity, the environment here was lush and green and supported both people and a whole assortment of wildlife.
Well, here's another giraffe. That could be an oryx. And this really looks like an elephant. There must have been a time that there were plenty of animals here.
The next day, the team reached the blue-green waters of Lake Turkana. From its southern point, it stretches 250 kilometers north to the Ethiopian border, where the Omo River discharges her flow.
We're going to route now again pretty much due north.
Lake Turkana rose to international attention in 1969, when, on a flight south from Ethiopia, Richard Leakey was able to recognize from the air fossil-rich beds on this eastern shore. Since then, working with his wife Meave, the Leakeys have uncovered a treasure trove of pre-human fossils that have helped construct the most detailed picture we have of our rich and distant past.
Hi! Okay, there we go. So, how do you like it working here?
It's fantastic, and it's also very rewarding when you find the specimens. But it's, you know, not every year you come up with the goods. You end up sort of having long periods of time with nothing terribly exciting to announce. But then when you've got it, they'll just say, "Oh, we're at it again."
Yeah, of course, that makes it.
Keep working.
Where are we going actually, Louise?
We're going to an area of fossil exposures that's slightly up the road from us here, where we've been looking for fossils for the last few days, and it's a fairly rich site. It's probably around about 1.3 million years, and so our fossil crew are going to be scanning slowly the surface, looking for bones, which I'll come along and collect with, you know, more detail.
Yeah.
I guess we're nearly here. Here we go. Let's hope that's all do.
Curious what we're going to find here.
Yes, it should be a good morning.
Fossils are one of my great passions, and this looks like heaven.
Now, keep your eyes open for fossils.
Already?
Oh yes, you just walked on one there.
No.
The fossils are just littering the ground. You really have to be careful where you put your feet.
The thing about out here is if you pick up a fossil, you've got to put it back exactly where you find it.
Yes.
Oh.
Because if it moves and there was something else with it, then you've lost the context.
Yeah.
So just feel free to pick things up and have a look, and then put them back down. See, that's another fossil there.
The shores of Lake Turkana are one of the best places in the world to go looking for fossils, especially hominid ones. Not only did many early humans live here, the natural processes operating helped preserve them. Over a period of about 4 million years, hundreds of meters of sediment have built up, trapping the skeletons of both the ancient hominids and the animals that live with them. In 1999, Meave and Louise's team made a sensational discovery: the skull of an entirely new species of early human ancestor. The remains suggested for the first time that more than one species of hominid lived together side by side.
Patrick Kathogo is the geologist here. Having started working for the Leakeys as a fossil hunter, he's now completing a doctorate in the US. And according to his professor, he's one of the most talented students he's ever had. Patrick's work is key to dating all the finds.
Yeah, currently I'm the only geologist, and there are several other geologists who visit this area every season.
Yes.
And we walk around looking for certain geological markers, like ash, which came as a result of a volcanic eruption. And if you can see a volcanic ash above and another one below the fossil. Then you can take some minerals from the rocks that came from the eruption, and if you can date the one below and the one above, then we can be able to confine the age of the fossil.
Patrick and his colleagues have been able to show that the fossils here are around 1.3 million years old. As far as human evolution goes, that takes us back to the time of Homo erectus. These early people were probably the first humans to master fire and wear clothing, giving them what they needed to leave Africa and spread into Asia and Europe.
Right, because we've definitely lost this piece. This has come out somewhere. We have to find that.
There's a little kichungi anyway.
Yeah.
I think this bit's gone. That should have the mandibular condyle on it.
The only bright color in the landscape comes from a plant known commonly as the desert rose. In fact, this succulent comes from the periwinkle family, and in these northern desert regions it often grows to the size of a small tree. Its swollen trunk and roots store large quantities of water, allowing it to survive the long dry spells.
Yeah, now I take one from below.
Nearby, Dos finds a mound strewn with large pieces of fossilized bone, which his medical background helps make sense of.
I just found an almost complete skeleton of a hippo broken into many pieces, and now my original profession as an orthopedic physical therapist really comes in very handy. This, for instance, is the axis. That's the second vertebra of the vertebral spine, and it's very interesting to see how little room the spinal cord had. Here my little finger is the place where the spinal cord runs normally. And this, for instance, this is a scapula or shoulder blade. And this is the place where the humerus, the upper arm, articulates with the shoulder blade. Anyway, now I have to put them back exactly on the same spot where I found them, because it's very important for the identification.
Susie Coate is a paleoecologist. Her job is to help reconstruct the whole habitat that existed here millions of years ago.
Susie, what is this?
This is a pig skull.
Pig skull?
Right, when we found it, all we could see was this tooth sticking up out of the ground. One of our men found it when he was surveying. So what you're actually seeing here is the upper teeth of the jaw. It's upside down.
Now I see, it's upside down. So this is up here.
Yes.
And this is...
This is the palate. It's like the roof of the mouth.
Yeah,
so this would be the palate.
Actually,
the two
yes.
teeth. And so what we have, this is the back of the skull.
Spinal cord.
Right. And then this would be the front of the skull here. And then this tusk has been displaced. It should be up at the front, but it's been moved around, probably from water transport.
Can you explain to me why you are looking for animal fossils?
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought the main search here was for hominid bones, hominid fossils.
Right, so finding animal bones helps us to know the sort of environment we're dealing with. So it tells us what kind of vegetation might have been around that these hominids could have been using. It tells us, perhaps a little bit later in the record, if the hominids were hunting, what kind of animals they might have been eating. And it tells us a little bit more about change through time, because if you watch how animals change through time in the fossil record, that's a really good indication of how the climate is changing and what effects that might be having on hominids.
One of the goals of this expedition is to find out more about Homo erectus. More of his remains have been found here than anywhere else on Earth. In particular, Louise is keen to settle a family discussion over his origins. Did Homo erectus walk into the Turkana Basin from somewhere else? Or was this his birthplace?
Here, the vital job of recording and cataloging the hundreds of finds made so far gets underway.
27217 East 36.
We're only a few days into this expedition, and so far no hominid fossils have been found. But what we did find is several basalt tools, like this hand axe. It looks very crude, but it fits my hand really beautifully. It's an amazing idea that more than 1 million years ago, someone must have had it in his hand just the way I'm doing it now. And this is a fragment of a vertebra of a Nile perch, a fish that, incredibly enough, still lives in the lake today.
So what is this?
This is the skull of a fossil turtle.
A fossil turtle?
Yeah.
It's beautiful, huh? Oof, that's heavy too. Is that a rare find or?
I think maybe we got one other trianakid from here.
So this is a really
But that's
rare
a particularly
find.
nice one.
Yeah,
Really nice.
yeah, it's almost complete.
He's rather sweet, I thought.
Yes.
I like his face.
Yeah, no, you're right.
While waiting for that next major hominid find to show up, Louise aims to carry the Leakey legacy forward yet another generation by building a permanently manned research station on these eastern shores of Lake Turkana,
So we just have the M3.
making it possible for researchers to work out here all the year round. That evening, as the team unwinds after a hard day in the field, it's hard not to feel dwarfed by the thought that humans have lived here for millions of years without a break.